everyone. This is your host, David John Oates, and I am back home in Australia. You have followed me all around the world the last 7 weeks. But I've been home now for, about 5 days. 5 days. Still in jet lag. It always hits me when I come back to Australia. It never hits me when I go away. I never get jet lag when I fly to America or to England, but when I come back home, I always get it. So anyway, my sleep has not returned to normal again yet, but it will. All right, I've got some interesting news for you in the first hour of the show today. We're going to be talking about the CIA declassification of reverse speech, which is quite a significant milestone in the history of reverse speech. We'll talk about that in the first hour. Taught you about some of my trip and some reversals that Naomi, my lady in Canada, found on my lecture in London. So we'll be playing some of those. They're actually quite interesting. So, and in the second half of the show, I'm going to be having a guest on, and he is a client, and he had probably, excuse me 1 second. Oh, I just had a sneeze come out of nowhere. I'm sorry about that. So in the second hour, we're having a client on. His name is Richard, and he had one of probably the most amazing post-trance tapes I've ever seen, with an incredibly high content of spiritual reversals. So we're going to be playing some of those in the second hour of the show, and which it gets on to the next book I plan to write, called The Still Small Voice. I'm going to start that book in a week or so, and it's going to be all about the spiritual aspects of reverse speech. So that will be quite an interesting book. All right, let's move on to the declassification of reverse speech by the CIA. The link is actually on my website. If you go to reversespeech.com, you can got a link to the CIA website there, and it's in their library section, and it's a book, Reverse Speech: Hidden Messages in Human Communication, which was published in 1991. Now, this is all very interesting, and I've unraveled a little bit of the secret around this declassification and what it's all about. So we're going to be going into that a little bit. But to do that, I'm going to go back to 1989 when I was first asked to come to America to lecture on reverse speech. I'd released my theory of reverse speech in Australia in 1987, and that led to a lot of media in Australia. No really any official interest, although I did work on one case for the New South Wales Police with a very successful outcome. The reversals actually revealed the location of the murder weapon, and they obtained a search warrant and found the weapon exactly where the reverse speech said it was. So we've had I had some success in Australia. However, when I went to America, I really wanted to take it to the authorities. I wanted the American government to look into reverse speech and do further research. I'd thought I'd found quite an amazing discovery with reverse speech, and it needed work done by people who were a little bit more savvy than I was at that stage. I thought so anyway. So one of my very first lectures when I came into America was to the Dallas police. It actually wasn't just Dallas. They invited police officers from various towns, not too sure where they all came from, and we filmed a TV special for the Law Enforcement Television Network. I did an hour lecture. We talked about some of the cases. At this stage I was working on cases for the Richardson police, and we talked about some of the successes of the cases I'd have in working with Richardson Police. And as a result of that, they filmed a documentary, and it was going to be launched right across America on all the law enforcement television network stations. And so that was a very exciting step forward for reverse speech. However, marketing people. I had a marketing team who started to work for me when I got to America, and they wanted the law enforcement television network documentary pulled until we had a product to sell. I don't know. I wasn't too happy about it, but what did I know? I said, okay, all right, well, we'll better get some products to sell. And so we started looking at reversing machines, etc., etc. But it was a bit of a disastrous relationship, and I severed ties with them shortly afterwards. It wasn't long after I moved to America at the end of '89 to live, and not too long before I moved there, I was approached by a man in Washington, D.C. called C.B. Scott Jones. Now, Scott Jones was a special assistant to a senator, to Rhode Island Senator Claiborne Pell. And a part of Scott Jones's role was to seek out new technologies, bring them in for assessment. He was always on the lookout for new and interesting things, and he heard about my work, reverse speech, through some of the initial coverage I had, and so he asked me to come out to Dallas. He was with me for 4 days. We did session work on him, and some of my first experimentations with metaphoric structuring. He was very impressed with the whole presentation, and as a result of that, he went back to Washington, D.C. to arrange meetings with me, with the CIA, the FBI, National Service, Secret Service, Naval Intelligence. When the meetings eventually took place, there was a lot of people that I didn't even know who half the people were who I was lecturing to. They were due to take place in 1990, but they were cancelled, and they were cancelled because of a very controversial reversal I found. This was back in 1990, in the days of the Persian Gulf crisis. For anyone who can remember back that far, it was called Operation Desert Shield, before Operation Desert Storm broke. And I was doing reversals on President Bush, George H.W. Bush, George Bush Sr., and his Defense Secretary Dick Cheney, and Secretary of State at the time, Jim Baker. And I was finding reversals that were talking about some of their plans. For example, here's one. Let's play this one for you.
I think things are moving in the right direction, and we're pleased so far with the solidarity, cohesiveness of the economic actions that have been taken.
And this one says, sent the Seahawk up.
Sent the Seahawk up.
And again.
Sent the Seahawk up.
I subsequently found out that the Seahawk was an attack helicopter used on aircraft carriers. So there you go. But the word that kept on appearing over and over again was the word Simone. So let's play you this.
But we must recognize that Iraq may not stop using force to advance its ambitions. Iraq has massed an enormous war machine on the Saudi border.
And this reversal says, Simone in the sands.
Simone in the sands.
Simone in the sands. Simone in the sands.
Well, so there you go, and I found Simone, probably half a dozen times, more than that, at least a dozen times. Had no idea what was all about. And so I contacted Scott Jones, and he wrote this confidential memo to a Defense Secretary, Dick Cheney. I got the memo in front of me. It's on the United States Senate letterhead. It's stamped by the Office of the Secretary of Defense on October the 5th, 1990. And the memo reads, the Honourable Dick Cheney, Secretary of Defense, the Pentagon, Washington, D.C. Dear Dick, nice informal greeting. By technology known as reverse speech therapy, several of us have been following statements made by principal actors involved in the current Persian Gulf crisis. In statements made about Iraq by President Bush, Secretary of State Baker, and yourself, a word that we have never seen in speech reversal has appeared. The word is Simone. I mention this situation in case it is a code word that would not be in the national interest to be known. If this word means nothing special to you, then this is just a non-event, just another mystery in a new technology we are developing. If the word is significant, please contact me and I will provide details about the technology and assist in any way that I can in whatever the situation may be. Warm regards, CB Scott Jones, Special Assistance. So, that memo was leaked to the press, and the press picked it up, and it just went viral. CNN ran the story 2 nights in a row. You can see the story on my website. If you just search for CNN in the search engine, it'll take you to the CNN story that they did on Simone. And what is reverse speech therapy? Is the president hiding secret code words backwards in his speech? And Scott Jones contacted me, asked me not to talk to the press, to keep very quiet about it, so I did. I did not talk to the press, as I was asked. And the elections in Washington, D.C. were rescheduled for, I think it was mid-91, if I remember correctly. It was certainly 91. And why they were rescheduled, I really don't know. It had something to do with Simone and the memo to Dick Cheney. Simone, as I later discovered, was an Arabic word meaning a dust storm in the desert. So, and of course, I found this before Operation Desert Storm broke. And I remember when Operation Desert Storm broke and they announced it, I go, oh my God, that's what Simone is, a dust storm in the desert or desert storm. So, without knowing it, I'd actually cracked a rather major national secret. And Scott Jones lost his job as a result of that event. I don't know the full story behind why, but I know that he got into trouble for the whole thing. And other than the CNN news story, there was nothing else in the press about it. And in the next 6 months or so, I was invited to Washington, D.C. to do we did a 5-day workshop on reverse speech to the CIA, the FBI, National Service, the Secret Service, Naval Intelligence. There were a couple of dozen people there, and I didn't know who a lot of them were. And they were all very excited by reverse speech, very excited. They talked about doing pouring research funding into it, getting me involved in the research, and really seeing what the capabilities of reverse speech were. And I was received very warmly, with great enthusiasm, in the 5 days I spent in Washington, D.C. giving this workshop. Then I had a long chat with a top agent for the FBI who I communicated with after the lecture, and just sent him a lot of my notes and everything, and books, and there we go. And then after that, not nothing much seemed to happen. It was a bit of a non-event. The FBI never got back in touch with me. The only other contact I had was back in 94, I think it was, when we had the siege in Waco, Texas, with David Koresh and the Davidians, and the FBI contacted me then to do a personality profile on David Koresh based on his reversals, and which I was quite excited to do, which I dutifully did, and submitted a report to the FBI, and nothing happened. Except after the compound burned down, I got a phone call from an agent, and basically the agent said, "Don't go to the press." Well, I'd already gone to the press, and you can actually see that clipping on my website that talks about me working for the FBI. Anyway, they wanted me to not go to the press anymore and to keep reverse speech secret, and if I didn't, I would be, quote unquote, crushed. And which is really quite a stunning thing to say. And if you remember, we had our guest on my show 2 weeks ago, author Kathleen Hawkins, reverse speech practitioner, who did some work for the local police on the case, and the FBI rang her and told her to stop using reverse speech. And the police department was told by the FBI to stop using reverse speech. And that's the last I heard of it. And I've heard consistent rumors over the years about the CIA doing their own experimentation. I've heard consistent rumors about the FBI using reverse speech, but none of it's been verified or validated until just this week, when I was informed that under the Freedom of Information Act, my book, Reverse Speech, Hidden Messages in Human Communication, was listed on the CIA website in their electronic reading room. It gives me full credit for the discovery of reverse speech. So this is a very significant posting for many reasons. I did quite a lot of research into it online to see what else I could find out. It is entitled Document Type CREST, and I looked at CREST, and CREST is a 25-year program archive, which automatically declassifies records 25 years or older. And this was declassified in November the 4th, 2016. And my lectures in Washington, D.C. took place in 1991, so that is 25 years later. So not only does this the story gets better. So not only is this some physical proof that these lectures actually took place to the naysayers out there who have accused me over the years of manufacturing the whole thing, not only did they take place, but the CIA showed sufficient interest to open up a file. And it was placed in the Stargate file. It was part of the Stargate program. And Stargate, for those of you who don't know, is an umbrella code name of one of several sub-projects established by the U.S. government to investigate claims of psychic phenomena with potential military and domestic applications, particularly remote viewing, the purported ability to psychically see events, sights, and information from a great distance. So, they opened up a file, they attached it to Project Stargate, which was to investigate the psychic phenomenon. Now, this was all shut down in 96. They shut down Operation Stargate, but this release was released exactly 25 years to the day, almost to the day, November 4th, when not long after the book Reverse Speech, Hidden Messages in Human Communication came out. That was published in 91. We know that the FBI bought 21 copies of the book. How many copies of the book the CIA bought, I don't know. But if you go to their listing, and the link is on the Reverse Speech website, and click on it, you can go and see the release they've made. And they've got a PDF of the chapters and footnotes of the book. They haven't got the whole book. But interestingly enough, the sales of the book, Hidden Messages in Human Communication, has gone up the last 2 or 3 weeks. So that's very interesting because this posting on the CIA website is all about the book, Reverse Speech, Hidden Messages in Human Communication by David John Oates. So there you go, very significant step. We know for sure now that the CIA did take an active interest in reverse speech, going so far as to lump it in together with the Stargate program. Now this is just their first release. I want to see what's going to come out next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. What other work did they do? Clearly some work was sparked by my lectures, as is evidenced by this post. Anyway, there's our break. We'll continue with these discussions when we come back. I'll be back right after this.
What if we already know how to prevent and to reverse every known so-called disease? What if the government is in cahoots with the allopathic system to hide this information from you to keep you weak and enslaved to their system? What if living a higher quality of life than you ever thought possible was available to you now? Well, it's true. It's easier and more cost-effective than you think, and so life-changing that your only regret will not be having done it sooner. Because you already know what the answer is. Royal Velvet Pure. You've heard Jeff talk about it. You've heard the incredible testimonies that it has scores of benefits and it works for everyone. Now you may not know this. We have partnered with Jeff to empower you, giving you an opportunity we do not give anyone else. When you buy 2 Royal Velvet Pure, we give you another one free. Want to take that first step toward freedom and positive transformation? Go to royalvelvetnow.com. Click on the rinse icon in the upper right-hand corner or call us toll-free, 1-877-488-7423.
Would you like to change your life? Maybe access your deepest potential? Do you have blocks that hold you back or long-term issues you haven't been able to resolve? Then Reverse Speech Session Work is for you. With Reverse Speech Session Work, your voice is recorded and then analysed for speech reversals. These reversals will give a detailed look into the unconscious mind and pinpoint precise reasons for current behavioural problems. Then following another recording, a series of metaphoric journeys into the unconscious mind are mapped out and delivered to you. These journeys will change deep unconscious structures and hence current behaviour. Change your life today. Sign up for Reverse Speech Session Work. Go to www.reversespeech.com or call 503-568-7077.
Okay, we are back talking about the recent declassification under the Freedom of Information Act of the reverse speech, which proves that they took the whole research seriously enough to assign it to a project. What else they've done with it, we'll have to wait until further releases come out. You know, what would be interesting is they've actually got a file on Simone, because that was the thing that caused all the problems, was the file on Simone. So, and I just did a quick search and I can't see it here. So there we go. It's not there. Anyway, interesting stuff. Okay, I'm going to read you a letter that Scott Jones wrote to me in '95 after doing the rounds in Washington. And he says, "Dear David, as I reflect upon our professional relationship centered around reverse speech therapy, I note the shared concern that up to this point its potential and capabilities have failed to be fairly assessed. You correctly assume a large part of the situation. It has been difficult for you concurrently to develop that technology and to protect it from a few who want to exploit it without giving you the credit you deserve and without apparent concern about the significant ethical issues involved in its use. While the gestation of reverse speech therapy has been long, I urge patience and persistence in continuing the high road that you have selected to bring it into the mainstream of mental health and commercial applications. You have long recognized the important ethical issues inherent in its use. What we have all underestimated is the resistance to give this technology a fair assessment. This is, I suspect, the predictable fate of any new technology that threatens to have a profound impact on existing belief structures and behavior. The fact that it is simultaneously simple in its application and penetrating in effect makes it appear suspect and dangerous. Don't give up on it. Focus your effort to a few important areas. There will be a day when it will be broadly used and its importance recognized and appreciated for the degree of truthfulness that it ushered into society." That's quite an amazing letter. The day will come. Reverse speech will be recognized. It cannot help but happen. It is the truth. It's as simple as that. Very easily proven, very easily validated. You know, I got several lots of emails this week about the revelation about the CIA, and I got one from a former FBI agent who tells me that the FBI did use reverse speech on quite a regular basis in the field. So that's an unconfirmed report. But there you go. That's what we found. And if you do a search for reverse speech, the only listing you find is that one listing that's been that I have talked about. So, okay, I did a lecture in London on 2 weekends ago, and my lady in Canada, Naomi, much to my surprise, did some reversals on some of the lecture. So we're going to play you some of those reversals. And here we go. Here's the first one.
She found some of the 113s and I did some myself. So here is me on a radio interview in London. So let's run it forwards.
All right, and the reversal says, a lover I am, she lead us. A lover I am, she lead us.
A lover I am, she lead us.
A lover I am, she lead us. A lover I am, she lead us.
A very powerful metaphor. She is a metaphor of creation. It's the active, dominant metaphor involved in creation and manifestation. It's one of the most powerful metaphors in reverse speech. And to say a lover I love reverse speech. I love it with a passion. My love of this technology comes across as I lecture. So when I say a lover I love reverse speech. I'm being genuine and honest in my motives. And she, I'm acknowledging the powerful metaphor of she, lead us. In other words, the way will open before us as we as we walk forwards, the way will become apparent. So here we go. So let's run this one forwards. Here's the forwards again.
She found some of the 113s and I did some myself. So here is me on a radio interview in London. So let's run it forwards.
Okay, a lover I am, she lead us.
Lead us.
So there we go. There's the first one. Here's the next one.
We know all the past. We know all the future. It's just a matter of asking the right questions and tapping into the right information to get this information out. Such an incredibly, amazingly powerful technology. It constantly takes my breath away.
Reversal says, does she fall on you?
Does she fall on you?
Does she fall on you? Does she fall on you?
Well, yeah, that's a bit of me recognising the enormous responsibility and burden, not just responsibility, it's a burden to carry reverse speech around. It's a lot of work, a lot of issues, a lot of problems. It's been a long, hard road. Does she fall on you? Yes, she does. She does fall on me. It falls on me to get this word out there. Okay, now here's a reversal that's not related to the forwards, but I know exactly what it means. So here we go.
So intrepid me says, oh, I'm not going to be stopped by this, so go and hire a four-wheel drive.
Reversal says, the wolf, your wolf, I heard a setup.
Wolf, I heard a setup.
Wow.
Wolf, I heard a setup. Wolf, I heard a setup.
Okay, the setup, the wolf, your wolf, I heard, that's related to a completely separate matter. Let us just say a conflict in London. I'm not going to go into any more than that. And that's what the reversal purports to, a conflict in London I had. So here it is again.
So intrepid me says, oh, I'm not going to be stopped by this, so go and hire a four-wheel drive.
And the wolf, your wolf, I heard a setup.
Wolf, I heard a setup.
Wolf, I heard a setup.
There it is.
Wolf, I heard a setup.
Okay, I was attempted to be set up, but I saw it and I wasn't. Next reversal along.
On the wrong side of the road, and
okay, so here we go. Sorry, I started too soon.
And snow, it gets thicker and thicker and thicker. Before too long, I'm driving in this raging blizzard on the wrong side of the road, and down to 10 miles an hour. And so this reversal on a highway, there's a chill here, came dramatically true. Now, there's no way I could have known that because I hadn't planned on driving. I was planning on flying. So my unconscious was able to tap into and give me a future event.
Now here I say, together, look, they are one.
And look, they are one.
And look, they are one.
And I'm trying to, in that reversal, I know what that means. I'm trying to communicate the multifaceted aspect of reverse speech. Reverse speech comes from many different levels of the psyche. And together, they all work together as one. So together, look, they are one. The reverse speech is reflecting and tapping into the many different parts of us. Okay, here is me again.
We know all the past, we know all the future. It's just a matter of asking the right questions and tapping into the right information to get this information out. Such an incredibly, amazingly powerful technology. It constantly takes my breath away.
And this verse says, "You'll see I'm the pillar."
You'll see I'm the pillar.
You'll see I'm the pillar. You'll see I'm the pillar.
Yeah, I'm the pillar of reverse speech. I'm the one who's standing, keeping it going right now. We're not quite at the stage yet where it can go on without me. There's still a few. Yeah, depends on how many people sign up for training. We need people trained in this technology. Boy, gee whiz, I say that with such frustration sometimes. We need more people out there. You know, a CIA psychologist who attended the workshops in Washington in '91 said, "This can't be true. It would mean there are no more secrets." And yes, that's what it means. It means there are no more secrets. And we need teams, dozens, hundreds of people out there reversing tapes, finding out all the hidden secrets and mysteries. I get, in the office we get a dozen at least requests each week for people wanting analysis done on this personality or that personality, and I mean, there's just no way that we can do it all. Just so much work to be done, so many tapes to analyze. I spent most of last year looking at the moon landings and JFK assassination in the spare time I had, and I talk a little bit about that at my workshop in London. By the way, the workshop in London is on YouTube. You can go into YouTube and watch it. It's also on the front page of the Reverse Speech website. So go and look at the workshop in London and tell me what you think, what you thought of it. Okay, we've had a few people go and view it, so that's pretty cool. So, and of course, it was also a film for the documentary, as was my lecture in Ashland, which I've already told you all about. So we got more footage in the documentary. We're on the last legs of making it now. We're moving towards a 2018 release. So that's the current plans. 2018 release. This latest information about the CIA's at least interest in reverse speech has put the documentary in a slightly different direction. Because it gives us some validation, is what it does, that there was enough interest caused in reverse speech for it to be looked at. Its original classification was classification K, whatever that means. I searched for classification K and couldn't find anything on the net about it. The document type is CREST. I searched for CREST. That's an automatic 25-year release under the Freedom of Information Act. So that's why it came out November of 2016, because that was 25 years since the book came out. So there you go. All very interesting stuff, and certainly quite a major milestone for reverse speech. And I would be going to my website, getting that post, and spreading it around. It needs to be known that that these meetings actually happen, and the CIA did have an active interest in reverse speech. Of course, they may be doing a whole bunch of more stuff with it that we don't know about. And I wait to see what is released at the end of this year and next year. Will we see any other work that they've done on reverse speech? I don't know. The Stargate project was closed down in 1995, 96. So if anything's happened after that or since that stopped, I don't know. But the record for this was created in November 2016. And thank you to Tiffany, who I've had on the show, who alerted me to this. And I'm not too sure how she found out. I would actually like to know how she found the listing. But it validates my early meetings I gave 25 years ago in Washington, D.C. when I was a very young, naive Aussie. I took reverse speech to the government first because I thought the government was the right people to take it to. Turns out it wasn't. They just left me cold. God, the number of times I've been left cold with reverse speech is just absolutely stunning. My autobiography is going to be out very soon. My editor tells me she's about 2 months away from finishing the editing process. It's going to be about 550 pages, so it's a pretty big book. And all of the stuff will be covered in the book. The meetings in Washington, the death threats, the house fires, the computer hackings. Oh my God! I lived a Hollywood movie story in America for the 10 years I was there. Had no problems at all since being back home in Australia, so that's good. So there you go. That's all I can tell you about that. Nowadays, well, reverse speech is getting out there. Certainly is. A lot of interest when I was on my 7-week tour. Drummed up a bit of business, got some interest in the training course. Don't forget, next class starts October the 7th. If you want to join in, call me on 503-568-7077. That's after the show. Call me on 503-568-7077 and take reverse speech training. It's a way of the future. It will eventually change society. It will eventually usher us into an age of truth. We're not ready for that age of truth yet. Not at all. And if any one of you followed my regular progress in America, I was fairly big on the Art Bell show back in the late 80s, and my ending with Art Bell was rather abrupt, and that's all covered in the book. Here we have what he had to say about it all.
I tell you, it is power, David. It may almost be too much power. I have questions about that and whether the world is really ready for that kind of absolute truth, you know. And I wonder if reverse speech is going to end up in a fist fight. It probably is.
Quite an ominous prediction. I wonder if reverse speech is going to end up in a fist fight. It probably is. Well, it certainly did in America, and it ended up in a fist fight in America. All of that is in my book when it comes out. It's all covered. So I will give you plenty of warning about that as the time comes along. Okay, so we've got a few more minutes left before we get to the bottom of the hour. So I don't know. Let's just pull out some reversals at random here. I think some reversals that went over the best in my lectures was some of the future tense predictions, like the reversal that always takes people's breath away is the one on JFK when he was giving his inauguration speech. So let's run this.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
And here he says, head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car.
And that's such a very powerful reversal, because we've all had that image of JFK's head being hit in the Zapruder film. We've seen that image over and over again. So it just goes to show the depths that reverse speech goes to. It goes right down to, well, we can look into the future, we can look into the past. We've just got to ask the right questions, and we will get the right answers. Here's a reversal on a student.
Changes is something I haven't really thought a lot about is retirement. Suddenly I started thinking a lot about that and about what comes next. And
he says, but I will wing it, reversed analyst.
But I'll wing it, reversed analyst. But I'll wing it, reversed analyst.
But I'll wing it, reverse analyst.
But I'll wing it, reversed analyst. But I'll wing it, reversed analyst. But I'll wing it, reversed analyst.
There you go. Reverse analyst. That's pretty good. It's actually a reverse speech analyst. Here's the ultimate potential of reverse speech. Listen to this. This is a reverse speech practitioner, Jack Johnston, talking into his tape player.
What other metaphor would be the optimum metaphor that we could put out into the world that would attract people's interest and enthusiasm and would attract the right kind of people to the process and to our mission and to the work that we do.
And our mission is this. We deal with revolution.
We deal with revolution.
We deal with revolution. We deal with revolution.
So how about that, hey? We deal with revolution, because that's the implication of reverse speech. It will be a revolution of truth. Once it's accepted, it's going to change the planet. It's going to change everything. It's going to put us in contact with the still small voice within. It will answer the question philosophers and theologians have been asking for thousands of years. It contains the secrets of who we are, why we are here. Talks about God and heaven and the soul. The information it communicates is very, very deep. But it's an intimidating technology. That's why it's taken so long to take off. Although, 30, 40 years is a fairly common gestation period for something as radical as reverse speech. It's like saying the world's round. I mean, it's that significant. It's that much of a game changer. Actually, that's what one of the people in my lecture in London said. Well, this is a real game changer. This changes everything. And yes, it does. It does change everything. U.S. government is well aware of existence. I read you the memo that Scott Jones wrote to Dick Cheney. We now see reverse speech declassified under the Freedom of Information Act in the CIA reading room under Project Stargate, which was established to look into psychic phenomena. Particularly remote viewing, and of course we've covered remote viewing on this show a few times. So there you go. We deal with revolution. That's the implications of reverse speech. The meetings, which I thought were taken seriously, were indeed taken seriously by Washington. I was just cut out of the picture, which happens to me quite a lot. Some people seem to think they can do this better than I do. I don't know. I do the best I can. I try. Anyway. Hey, what's this? This is a future tense reversal on the speech of John Lennon. I don't know what this one is all about. Let's play this one, seeing it all. It looks like it's a very long file. Oh, heavens, that's 13 minutes. Oh, we're not going to play that? No, we're not going to play that. All right, we'll be going to our break any second. Let me get a reversal up. Well, we won't get a reversal. We're going to go to our break. CIA declassifies reverse speech after 25 years. Amazing news. I'll be back right after with my guest, Richard Murphy. Don't touch that keyboard.
Would you like to change your life? Maybe access your deepest potential? Do you have blocks that hold you back, or long-term issues you haven't been able to resolve? Then reverse speech session work is for you. With reverse speech session work, your voice is recorded and then analysed for speech reversals. These reversals will give a detailed look into the unconscious mind and pinpoint precise reasons for current behavioural problems. Then following another recording, a series of metaphoric journeys into the unconscious mind are mapped out and delivered to you. These journeys will change deep unconscious structures and hence current behaviour. Change your life today. Sign up for reverse speech session work. Go to www.reversespeech.com or call 503-568-7077.
Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 6,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rense.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on Rense.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times. You're listening to the Rense Radio Network, nationwide and worldwide on the net and at Rense.com.
Okay, we are back. This is David John Oates. You're listening to Hour 2 of the weekly Reverse Speech Show. And this hour I bring to you my regular guests. And today I'm bringing to you a chap by the name of Richard Murphy, a client of mine. Richard, are you with us?
Hey, David. I'm there. How are you, David?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining me on the show. I really appreciate it.
I really, it's great to be on the show.
Good on you. Yeah, well, one of the reasons why I wanted you on was that after we finished our second round and did our second post-trance session, you had the most amazing reversal that I've come across for a long, long, long time. Some amazingly, very powerful spiritual reversals. So we're going to be playing some of those and finding out what they tell us. But why don't we start off by having you tell me a little bit about you. Who are you? What do you do? Why did you come and do session work?
Okay, so it was about probably back in early 2015 I started working with you, David, and that came about an expo that I went to in London, and it was through another company called Elite Mind Technology, who were a particular stand there that was basically talking about what reverse speech and this new technology, and I was absolutely astounded by what I was hearing, and kind of was just so curious and intrigued to find out more. And so that's where the journey started. But the context to it, I guess, is that I work in London, and I work with technology companies, e-commerce companies, and as a brand consultant. So I had, up until 2015, had just moved out of the corporate world, working for big companies, and started my own consulting business. And at that time, there was kind of like two twin tracks going on in my life, which has obviously been the subject of what we've been exploring in our reversal sessions. And one was around the whole area of my business, and starting out in that business, growing the business, and various blocks around that were going on in the business. And the other area was around personal development, which at the time was, obviously which led me to the expo in the first place, but had been part of a journey that had started probably about 2 years before, where really sort of a few events has happened sort of around 2013, where events sort of, came to, shall we say, a kind of a point in the life where things couldn't go on as they were. So I'd lost my sister and my father in a very short period of time, and on top of that, a lot of things are redundancy in the, as I say, in my last corporate job, and that plus all sorts of things from, I'd say, from childhood, all kind of come up to kind of catch up with me all at the same time, and kind of led me into sort of a fairly sort of dark place at that time. And rather than really embarking on what might be more the traditional approach, counselling and all of that kind of path, that I really sort of got to that point where I realised it was like personal development, and I really had to kind of grow myself and take this under my own wing, and that really was a kind of a mission for me to kind of really sort out what was blocking me in life and what was preventing me from moving on, that had been inherent in all of my life up until that point, and actually start to live life again. And so really that was, before meeting you, there was all sorts of things I was doing in the personal development world, from coaching to NLP to Tony Robbins and 3 principles, all sorts of things that were all part of the journey. And I think really when I kind of came to you, it was really when things started to particularly change.
Right. And what were some of the changes you noticed as a result of the session work?
So when we started work, it's interesting because before I came on the show, I was just sort of going back to some old reversals that we did back in early 2015, and some subsequent session work that we did. And I look at some of the reversals, I probably have about 15 reversals in a session, like 10, 11, 12, 13 of them, negative reversals, a lot of blocks really around business and in that area. But whenever I was particularly talking about the journey on the personal development side, which was then becoming more of a spiritual, it was kind of moving on from more the conventional aspect of personal development and moving more into a sort of spiritual journey, was those reversals are always constantly positive. Things like coming up with my beloved surf, was always coming up. Adam was coming up, and God was coming up, and Jesus was coming up a lot. And so it's always encouraging me to continue with whatever I was doing, and it was always leading me on the right path. But so that was always, the session work that we did was always sort of learning more about that, but also giving me guidance on the next step on that personal development road. And on the business side, there was, I was in the early days of my new business, and like any challenge for anyone moving out of probably a big company and then starting their own business, you normally have the adjustment to make with that. But I was obviously realizing there was those blocks that were becoming apparent were showing up in the business as well. So whether it was issues of confidence to present and sell myself to clients, to money blocks and other things as well were coming through in those reversals. And as time went on, I think as we were kind of unblocking many of those, the session work became more into using it more as a sense to sense check a lot of the decisions that I was making in the business. So whether to take the business, for example, the consulting business, to expand it into more different, I guess, multi-income and different revenues streams of business. I was also toying with the idea, if you remember, with setting up an Amazon business as well, where I wasn't getting great reversals on that. In fact, I look back now and there's actually some really bad ones coming up saying some of the ideas that I had about the products I was going to sell was evil. That was super helpful in terms of, steering me away from going down a blind alley on that one. The reversals have been really helpful in terms of, one, unblocking some of the more fundamental things that were stymieing my growth, stymieing my confidence, but also then giving me guidance in the business about certain decisions and people I wanted to work with, clients that I wanted to work with, and giving me some guidance as to say yes or no, go left, go right.
It's quite amazing the way it does that, isn't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's absolutely extraordinary because it's once you get the unblocking to a sufficient level that you get to a point you can see that the business is starting to take off, the confidence is there, the money's coming in easier, things are becoming more effortless, then you can start to move to that point where you can start asking questions more specifically. So, do I want to work with this person because this person's come into potential partnership? Or what about this client who's come in? Is this worthwhile, pursuing this particular client? And asking some of those questions was so helpful because many of them were, I wasn't sure, and sometimes I might have been dubious, but the reversal was saying, yes, go ahead. And other reversals where I was maybe sort of thinking, this is a really good one, but the reversal was probably lukewarm or saying, no, don't go there. And it was probably saving me a lot of time and effort and money on lots of, not going down lots of dead ends.
It's quite amazing the way it does that, yeah. Now, I want to get into some of your reversals, but before I do, you were involved in a program that had quite a dramatic changing for you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've talked already about the journey about personal development, and that being one of the twin tracks that we were looking at throughout the last couple of years or so with the reversal sessions. And as I moved through that journey, as I mentioned earlier, it took on more of a higher level of consciousness, a spiritual, dimension to it, where I was starting to understand that conventional personal development just simply wasn't working. It had a role for me, but then it reached its limits where really I needed to look at much more holistic answers to fundamental problems rather than trying to solve a problem at a kind of smaller level. And as I was moving through this, sort of reading lots of books sort of in spirituality, whether it's also from neuroscience into spirituality into quantum physics, I was fascinated by understanding all of this. But in all of this, reading books, doing courses and seminars and the rest of it, I was learning a lot, but one thing that was remaining massively elusive to the whole thing was that it felt like I was constantly in seeking mode, in that I was in this pursuit to kind of, to get to high level of consciousness, to get to that great level of human potential, but something felt still separate from me in all of this, and that, it still felt like an intellectual pursuit, that I was reading about stuff, and I seemed to just be always like in that place of, I know about something, but it's not in my experience. So take, for example, reading about, the great book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, was, I think, great, I want to live in the now. And hearing about him being in the now and what all that's like, it was great, but there wasn't anything there to actually help you to get there and stay there. And that was frustrating for me. And then towards the end of last year, I was then invited as a sort of private invitation to a seminar in the Bahamas. And, and a great place. It's literally on Paradise Island. So that's a great place to do it, in all sorts of figuratively and geographically. But it was a seminar, and which therefore it ended all that intellectual pursuit, that spiritual seeking and trying to find solutions and answers, and actually bring the whole thing into my total experience. And what it was really about was this: the seminar was it's 12 days long, and there's a reason it's 12 days, because obviously most seminars tend to be 3 or 4 or 5 days, but because you're learning things at one level, but you're unlearning things at another level, because you're peeling back the onion to get back to the real self, the universal you, the spirit. We all use different words, but fundamentally they're all are the same thing. But this seminar, and when I say this, I know it becomes cliche, because in the personal development world, everyone talks about transformation, life changing, and so we get a little bit weary of all these hyped things, and claims that are made, and but this seminar simply was transforming and life changing, and that's it was played out in the reversals, which I know we'll play some of them shortly, but it's a great complement and synergy with the work that you're doing with the reverse speech, because at essential level it's working with the same part of the unconscious mind, and then life and spirit on another level as well, which obviously the two are deeply connected. And the seminar is it's called a JUCO, and as I say, in the Bahamas, which is, I think, Latin or Greek, to draw or lead out from within. But the definition of a JUCO in the seminar, which I know you will absolutely agree with and totally with, because we've talked about this before, is the contents of your unconscious mind will dictate the outcome of your life and of others and the world around you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so this seminar is really sort of about understanding the conscious mind and the deeper parts of the unconscious mind, and really sort of looking at a personal level, business level, or even a self-realization level, because it's all holistic at the end of the day. But it's working at the level of thought and the structure of thought. And every human on the planet has good and bad thoughts, as we all know, because of all the programming that we've got from society, from parents, family, friends, people around us, media, the rest of it. And this seminar is really sort of fundamentally talking about, it's about how to take control of your thoughts, such that you can take control of the life-forming process, I guess. And so how can you become almost the thinker of your thoughts, if that makes sense, in that you can start to observe your thinking rather than actually be totally consumed in your thinking, and therefore in constant reaction and behavior mode. And so the way the seminar kind of works, which in some ways similar to a very complementary and synergistically to the work that you do, is it imprints you. You look at the end result that you want rather than constantly you're trying to fix the problem, but you look at the end result that you want, and it works at imprinting that on your unconscious mind, and life gets behind it to bring it about. And that's fundamentally, so there's a lot of work and thinking and experience around that part as well in the seminar. And the second part is really about the connection to the self, the spirit, God, the universe. We all use different words. We can select the word that, obviously, energy, another one, whichever word that works for you. But to bring about that self-realization, because as I was mentioning earlier, up until that point, it was felt just intellectual and separate from me. But in this seminar, it was then actualized the spirit within. It was no longer a concept to me, like, what is spirit? And yes, kind of, I know I have energy in the body, but what is the energy body really, And I actually became connected to that, totally connected into my energy body and then just fundamentally transformed, one at the level of my own thinking, but then my level of spiritual realization, which then comes actualized into your life itself. And so yes, that was the seminar, and we can talk about some of the results that I've had since the seminar. Have been quite extraordinary. Part of backed up by the reversals as well.
Well, let's have a look at some of your reversals. And now we should say the recording quality was not very good. We had a bad Skype line, but the reversals themselves were actually clearer than the forward. So here you are talking about the seminar. You said this was 12 days.
And the guidance system itself. So this was 12 days, and I think by day.
Here you say backwards, Wolfman.
Wolfman.
There.
12 days. Wolfman.
Or the Wolfman, I think.
Wolfman.
Certainly Wolfman. Yeah, so it made you strong, motivated, confident. Okay?
My white wolf or my wolf comes up a lot. He's my partner.
And here you're talking about wanting to speak or wanting some people to talk about life. Here we go.
Wasn't me included. It was kind of like something I've always been wanting to seek or wanting. It's just some people talk about life too.
Here you say, "It's my Lord Jesus."
Oh yeah.
Nice, wonderful reversal. I don't hear Jesus very often in reverse speech. I don't think I've ever heard the phrase Lord Jesus. So that gives it extra power. Here it is again for those.
Yeah, and that was precisely when the context I was talking about there was about up until that point, which I mentioned earlier, it was always an understanding about something over there. And that finally this is something that was actualized within me to experience it. And then the reversal comes back, it's my Lord Jesus. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Here it is again.
Yeah, it's more Jesus.
Certainly there.
To seek or wanting, it's more Jesus.
Yeah, wonderful reversal. And here you talk about we have that experience, then we kind of know it's there and what to do. Here we go.
Once you have like that experience, then you kind of know it's there and know what it is.
You say, surf the wind.
Surf the wind.
Oh, yeah.
Surf the wind.
Surf is to flow, move it, flow forward in life. Wind is the energy, the essence. So surf the wind. Flow with the spirit. Tap into your soul. Go where the wind takes you. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you're talking about using something as a guidance system in life. Let's play this one. Here we go.
Actually saying, contacting life itself and saying, what does it want for you? And then using that as a guidance system their lives.
And you say the God is our machine. Then. Wow.
As a guidance.
Interesting reversal, because it's in depersonalizing God. The God is our machine, which implies that if God is a metaphor, the God, if we can get control over our unconscious, then God will be our machine. He will create and manufacture that which we will wish to have. And that's actually quite a profoundly wise statement.
Yeah, this is an extraordinary reversal. Yep.
Yep. Okay, just hang on, Richard. We have to go to our break. We'll be back right after this, folks.
What if we already know how to prevent and to reverse every known so-called disease? What if the government is in cahoots with the allopathic system to hide this information from you to keep you weak and enslaved to their system? What if living a higher quality of life than you ever thought possible was available to you now? Well, it's true. It's easier and more cost-effective than you think, and so life-changing that your only regret will not be having done it sooner. Because you already know what the answer is. Royal Velvet Pure. You've heard Jeff talk about it. You've heard the incredible testimonies that it has scores of benefits and it works for everyone. Now you may not know this. We have partnered with Jeff to empower you, giving you an opportunity we do not give anyone else. When you buy 2 Royal Velvet Pure, we give you another one free. Want to take that first step toward freedom and positive transformation? Go to royalvelvetnow.com. Click on the rinse icon in the upper right-hand corner or call us toll-free, 1-877-488-7423.
Would you like to change your life? Maybe access your deepest potential? Do you have blocks that hold you back or long-term issues you haven't been able to resolve? Then Reverse Speech Session Work is for you. With Reverse Speech Session Work, your voice is recorded and then analysed for speech reversals. These reversals will give a detailed look into the unconscious mind and pinpoint precise reasons for current behavioural problems. Then following another recording, a series of metaphoric journeys into the unconscious mind are mapped out and delivered to you. These journeys will change deep unconscious structures and hence current behaviour. Change your life today. Sign up for Reverse Speech Session Work. Go to www.reversespeech.com or call 503-568-7077.
Okay, we are back. Now, we were playing reversals, weren't we, Richard? So
we were. We're on God's machine then.
All right, okay. So, next one along, you say, I'm still a beginner in all of that. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point on the last one because that's such an extraordinary reversal on what was a really fundamental experience I had was I was talking about a guidance system or like a sat nav in life. It's like a kind of metaphor for life, and normally how we live our lives is, if we're like thinking about a sat nav, but normally if you're driving a car, you've got a map and you're stressed out, you're lost, and people are telling you in the car where to go, and that's how you kind of, it's a metaphor of life in terms of trying to get from A to B because you're trying to think about it. But when you connect to the spirit, which was at the point in the seminar, it's like you then revert to this guidance system or this inner sat nav, and it's actually doing it for you. So you don't need the map, you don't need the stress and getting lost, and you just need to trust what it's telling you and what's coming through, and it does it for you. And you just have to kind of let go to let it happen. And for it to come back and we talk about a guiding system and then it says God is our machine, then, well, there you go. What a reversal to say how congruent that's true.
That's quite, here, I'll play that reverse again for those of you who missed it. The God is our machine, then. Here's the forwards.
And we'll do it one for you. And then using that as a guidance system in life.
The God is our machine, then.
Wow. That as a guidance.
Yes, indeed. The God is our machine, then. And if we surf the wind, tap into the Lord Jesus, I don't know. And then the next one, you say, I'm still a beginner in all of that.
You know, I guess sort of, I'm still a beginner in all of that, in the sense of...
But you say marvelous lesson.
Marvelous lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Marvelous lesson.
Yeah, well, you're learning a marvelous lesson, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm talking about, I just had this beautiful new experience brought into my life, you know, but it's something you need to nurture, something you need to grow. So, you know, I'm still a beginner and all of that, but, you know, to keep going to the ever better. So, yeah, so to come back and say it's a marvelous lesson, just keep going, Rich, you know.
Yep. And then he talking about, ever since this seminar, I still sometimes have dark moments.
Was coming up in my mind, you know, which I do, even sort of since the seminar, I still have sometimes these that I feel.
When you say serves this marvelous, this is the seminar.
Oh
yeah.
Since the
so you might have had some dark moments, but the seminar itself has made an amazing difference, okay? And,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they were just incredible reversals. And here you say, I just don't need to be concerned with trying to work everything out.
I just don't need to be concerned about trying to work everything out all the time. So things like in my business and everything else, which probably is...
And you say, give this masterful wine. Yeah, wine is food for the soul. Give masterful, adds extra strength to it. Listen again. Give this masterful wine. Nice and clear. Wonderful reversal. Yeah.
Yeah, switch out of thought and get into life, and then let the spiritual energy come through, and it does it for you. You don't have to keep working it out consciously.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And here you're talking about writing a book. You got caught up in all of that.
Brand model and what's the name of the business and trying to sort of, you know, write the book and I get a little bit caught up in all of that.
They blew in heaven is what you say backwards.
Wow.
A
little bit caught up.
Oh yeah, heaven, the deepest part of the mind. You're getting your ideas, your inspirations from the wind, the marvelous wind that's coming with masterful wine from the God, who is your machine.
I should get on and write that book, shouldn't I? We've talked about this book over the last 2 years. No, so let's just get on and do
it. Yeah, you absolutely do. And here we have another reversal. I'm skipping some of them. I'm not playing all of them. I'm just picking out one of the good ones. Here's one where you say you love the word. Here's the forwards, talking about helping people, I think.
And the question is, you know, is that just in itself the right thing to do, whether it's even just to help people to come and go on these seminars, for example, because, you know...
Oh, to help people come along to the seminars. And here you say, you love the word. Right there. And again, word, the word of creation is what the word means in reverse speech. Logos, to to speak something into being, the logos. So just incredible reversal. So here's one where I couldn't get the forwards, but the reversal itself was quite clear. So here's the forwards.
Kind of like look at this a lot more,
right,
and go deeper into it. But there is a part of me that still does think.
There's a part of me that's still something.
Right. But there is a part of me that still does think, I can still do.
I can still do. Give your voice to him, solve with your help. Would you say? Give your voice to him, solve with your help. That's very clear. That's your spirit talking to you. Let your voice be heard by the God who will be your machine, and the solve with your help. Here it is again. Give your voice to him, solve with your help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, certainly there. Wow. Amazing. How have these reversals impacted on you? Have they caused you to reflect on things differently?
Totally. I mean, it's extraordinary what's happened since the seminar, because when we did these reversals, it was fairly soon after the seminar. It was almost a week or so I got back afterwards. And obviously it's been a few months and a few weeks, or months even. And the results I've had in my business, which has obviously been the other side of what we've been talking about over the last 2 years in the reversals, in the last 3 or 4 months, I've earned more than twice that I did in the whole of last year.
Wow.
Which is remarkable. It's extraordinary. I mean, I'm having clients come in from I don't know where. They're just coming to me. I'm in a situation where I can't service all the opportunities that are coming this way. It's just things are coming effortlessly, and then being in work as well is effortless, joyful. To be in business and working with people and loving being around people, serving people. So it's that's just totally transformational from where I was a year ago, which was more from a lack mentality now to a complete self-sufficiency. And even on health and the gym, I remember looking at some charts where there was 3 months before I'd started going to a new gym, which they were doing weights and measures, and they were tracking it I think every few weeks or so. So 3 months before the gym, they were looking at my fat percentage and my muscle weight percentage, and so I was trying to lose weight and gain muscle. And the 3 months before, I was just having very, very limited success, losing like a pound or two here and not really gaining much in muscle weight. And then straight after the seminar, so this was tracking me, about 1 or 2 pounds loss each sort of 3, 4, 5 weeks. So not significant progress, but okay. And then after the seminar, I lost within, I think, about 6 weeks, 14 pounds and gained 7 pounds in muscle. And that's just all through track it back. I can see exactly how imprinting the end result of what I wanted to look like and how healthy I was. It was so clear to me, imprinted deep into my unconscious mind, that all the things that ordinarily would throw me off track by a little snack or a temptation here, that then I'll get back on track the next day, just seemed to stop. I can give many other examples as well, like just my physical energy as well when I'm walking down the streets, when I'm sort of getting back connected into the energy again, my energy body. It's like sometimes, the airport travelators, when you're at an airport, you can go on those little travelators and get you there quicker. It's like sometimes standing on that and you're kind of walking, you're using the same amount of energy, but somehow you're going faster. I don't know, it's amazing, kind of less effort to kind of go further. And you just need to relax thought and thinking and just connect into yourself, and it just takes it over. It's amazing.
Right. Okay. So you are certainly seeing long-term benefits. Here's another good reversal. You say it's more aligned to the energy.
What I do. And I think I've talked about that before. Create a model that's more aligned to the energy.
And you say, warm soul, come look.
Warm soul, come look.
Oh, yeah.
That's more warm soul, come look.
Yeah, that's like your spirit speaking to you again, saying your soul is warm and alive and active. Come and see the wonder of your soul. Come and see how wonderful it is down inside. Just another great reverse.
Totally right. Yeah, it's extraordinary. Yeah, extraordinary. It's extraordinary at one level when you hear these, but on another level, I'm like, I live it, you know. So it's kind of like they feel very congruent to me.
Yeah. And here you're talking about a soul visit. This is let's run this one forward.
Connection to it. But the question you absolutely raise is it right? And certainly at the moment, for example,
you say soul visit. Is it well?
Soul visit.
Oh no, it is well, not is it well. The soul visit. It is well.
Soul visit.
Oh yeah.
Is it right? Soul visit.
Of course, we took you to your soul in one of the meta walks. So, soul visit, it is well. Verifies the journey we went on, and your soul is in good shape. So, another wonderful reverse.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember rightly, if I can jump in there before another reversal, before the seminar and also in the previous sort of verse, I think in the last one reversal session that we did, Rosalind came up. Do you remember? And Rosalind's really nasty. It's like, robbing you of your personal power and energy. And so I know you did a really great meta walk around, quite literally, like stabbing Rosalind and chopping off her head and like burning her. I mean, that's the end of her, and really going deep into the spiritual world in a very, very deep meta walk. And so all of this coming together is just all serving to kind of like, it's like cleansing the soul almost.
Yeah. Right. Yep. And here you say, I think I need to see what the reversals say. Here we go.
I'm just at this point, I think I need to see what the reversals are indicating from what
hang on, we go a little bit further.
Are indicating from what I'm saying, because I'm a pre-bird.
Okay, two reversals. First one says Adam with his soft mirror. Oh, not very clear. Oh, that's not clear at all. I can barely hear that. I'll do it again. No, not very clear, unfortunately. All right, let's try the next one. The reversals serve. Oh, hang on. That's Adam with his soft mirror. What? Hang on. This is all very confusing. The reversal serve. Hang on. I'm a bit lost here. I've lost some reversals. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Have you got me? Is that someone else?
Sorry?
Is that someone else?
No, that's you. That's definitely you.
Okay.
I just can't find the reversal. Anyway, so what's the future hold for you, Richard?
Well, it's interesting because like, as I've been talking before, on one level, it's about letting go. And that's not letting go to the point I have no plans or anything like that at all, because, you still have intentions and plans and things you want to do. But now I'm living much more from, as I say, from that source and letting it do it for me. And I have to say, since I've been doing that, the results I get from it are so more substantial than trying to ever do it from my own conscious mind, which is a lot more hard work. And so the more I actually let go, the more actually better results I get. And it's just living in that state of flow, and it's just a much more happy place to kind of work with. So on that one level, I'm more in that space, and allowing. I guess, obviously, when opportunities are coming up, it's kind of like sense checking. I'm much clearer about whether things are right for me as they pop up. But within the business, it's now continue with what I'm doing, but just doing it to a much higher level, and building the business further and further, and probably moving beyond just me, myself, and I in the business into more people, and developing my own IP around what I actually do as well. I've got to write that book. The reversals keep saying I've got to write that book. Absolutely. I've got some plans to sort of spend the winter in Ibiza, which is an island off Spain, which has been kind of like a long dream for several, almost like 3 or 4 years now. And again, not circumstances, but events conspired to make something quite extraordinary happen, where I actually got this perfect place on the sea with a sea view, at a really, really reduced cost, and I've got this for 5 months in the winter, and that's going to be wondrous. And really for me is the seminar was an absolute game changer for me, to the point it's as I said, I hate all the cliches of life transformation and life changing and even game changers and that, because it gets so overused and people get a little bit switched off by making all those big bold claims. But in a way, I can't find anything else to explain it, because one with the reverse speech, which is really helpful on a practical level, but then the seminar has been also instrumental in terms of getting control of my own thinking and then connecting to myself, spirit energy, whatever, the universe, in ways that now, the more I kind of connect to that and let that grow, life is just transforming in front of me. It's almost like a path that's being laid out for me. And so, for me, part of the reason to come on to talk about the reversals was, one, I know they were great reversals and you wanted to share that with your listeners as well. But the seminar, if there's anyone in the audience, listeners, where it's piquing some curiosity in them, and speaking to a part of them where they're saying, this is sounding like something different, and it is totally different. And I just really wanted to get the message out about, obviously, what you do and the great work that you do, but also this seminar that I've been on that's been such a life changer. And when you have that for yourself and you get to that point and that level of experience, it's not like something you selfishly kind of want to just keep for yourself. You want it for everyone else. So that's why I'm on here as well tonight, to share my own experience and what that was like for me, and that many, many other people that go on the seminar have obviously their own experience, but also have transformative effects. So if there is anyone out there that's interested, probably there's a way of contacting me, on email or something. Am I allowed to give it out?
Yeah, absolutely. Give out any information you wanted, Richard. Yep, please do.
Yeah, so if there is anyone here that just wants to talk to me about it more, because obviously I only touched on it in the context of this last hour and the reversals, but if there's something that's speaking to you about this and you want to find out more details, then maybe we can speak on the phone or on Skype or something. But probably the best way to initially contact me is to email me, and it's richard.murfitt, that's M-U-R-F for Freddie, I-T-T, at mac.com. So richard.murfitt at mac.com. And, get hold of me, and we'll pick up the conversation from there, because it's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And so complementary with the work that you do, David, as well, because at the end of the day, it's the unconscious mind and what's going on deep in the unconscious mind. And if we can kind of grasp what's going on in there and actually change the nature of what's going on in there, whether that's all sorts of different techniques or ways that we can do that, and then actually connect to the spiritual energy, not in some kind of woo-woo, kumbaya sort of fashion, but actually truly connect to it, and not talk about connecting to it, but actually connecting to it, and then bring about this actual results. Some of the things I've talked about and the things that have come through in the reversals. Then, it's just when you get that experience, you want it for other people. So. If anyone wants to talk to me about it, I'd be very happy to chat to them.
Well, I'm sure you will get a few emails. Most of my guests get emails every now and then, so there we go. Yeah, okay. Well, Richard, thanks for coming on the show and sharing your experience. I really appreciate that. So,
it's been a pleasure. Yeah. Absolute pleasure, David.
Yeah. Yep. Well, my pleasure too. Okay. Well, I will just finish the show up with a few little bits of news and information. So don't forget, everyone, the big event of the day, of course, is the CIA declassifying the research into reverse speech. Go to my website, reversespeech.com, and the link is there to the CIA electronic library, where you can see their listing for reverse speech as part of the Stargate project. So that's the big news of the day. You didn't hear that, did you, Richard?
I didn't, no. That's big news.
That's huge news.
Extraordinary news. That's huge news for you, yeah.
Huge news, yes. I covered that in the first hour of the show. So reverse speech gets a little bit more credibility, slowly but surely, step by step. We're getting there. We know the authorities have looked at it, and
the truth will be told eventually.
Eventually will be, yeah. And sexual work is doing very well, as you have experienced and testified to. Seeing just incredible changes and lives changing and shifting around. So it's all very exciting stuff. So anyway, there we go. All right, I don't know what I'm going to have on the show next week. Oh, I'm having another client on as a guest next week, everyone. So you will get to hear. This is not one of my clients, one of Ingrid Collins. And Ingrid was on my show 2 weeks ago. She's a practitioner out of London who I normally stay with when I go to London. So we're having one of her clients on next week who has experienced some quite dramatic changes. So we will explore that a little bit further. And in the first hour, I don't know, I always have an interesting topic, something big will break. We'll watch for more CIA releases. All right, that's the end of the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll speak to you all next week. Bye-bye, Richard. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye, David. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Would you like to change your life? Maybe access your deepest potential? Do you have blocks that hold you back, or long-term issues you haven't been able to resolve?
then reverse speech session work is for you. With reverse speech session work, your voice is recorded and then analysed for speech reversals. These reversals will give a detailed look into the unconscious mind and pinpoint precise reasons for current behavioural problems. Then following another recording, a series of metaphoric journeys into the unconscious mind are mapped out and delivered to you. These journeys will change deep unconscious structures and hence current behaviour. Change your life today. Sign up for reverse speech session work. Go to www.reversespeech.com or call 503-568-7077.
Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 6,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rense.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on Rense.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times. You're listening to the Rense Radio Network, nationwide and worldwide on the net and at Rense.com.